I'm going to be doing the beginner's course for people who just started playing chess. So, chess is a game about building a center, getting a piece developed, and lots of these other mechanical stuff. Now, if you want to become the greatest at chess, it's gonna take lots of time. Okay, look, lots of GMs. It takes hours and hours and hours and days of years and years and years of hard work. So, if you want to become GM or a grandmaster or somebody high, you need to know the fundamental basics of chess. So now I'm going to be showing you a few fundamental ideas you should know before starting your first game. First thing is the center. So please don't play this, dude. H4 is one of the worst openings you would ever play for a reason. And you might be thinking, what is the reason? I'll tell you. Playing 1h4 or this pawn up here, it does nothing. This rook. See this rook here, which I am putting my mouse on. It can go to h3, but this does nothing. Look at all your pieces. Look at this pawn knight. Look at this bishop. Look at the queen. She will of course not do anything that much in the opening. Just look at these pieces. You can't do anything. So you have to make sure that this won't happen. You have to play. Don't play this either. This, yes, it kind of does open up the bishop diagonal. Like, let's say your opponent plays, I guess, so this. Yes, I know, it does something like that. But we won't be doing that. Instead, what you want to do is look at these two squares. The D, which as you can see, the D file and the E file. Now the D file, the E file are a part of one thing. And can you guess that part? It's a center square. So if you push 1d4, let's say your opponent plays 1d5, it's standard chess, okay? You can quickly develop part of pieces like this, like this. I'm just giving you an example, okay? It's not like this. Now this is not any real opening. I don't know the London system, okay? And I like other openings like the King's Indian and all, but I'm going to talk about that later. So yeah, you just do standard development of your pieces. Make sure you have central pawns, and you're safe as long as that. Now, normally, so d4 is a great idea. Not actually an idea, but you should play it. But before that, you should know of your openings before playing d4. Like, if you play d4, you have to be prepared for anything. Let's say you know the London system. He plays this, we play that. He plays this, we play that. The London system, right? Now what happens if you play something else? What happens if you play knight f6? You won't know anything. So you have to be prepared against the main openings, which would probably be d4. Like, it can be sometimes d4, knight f6. It can be sometimes anything it can be. So you have to always be ready for anything that might happen. So the main openings of the d pawn, it's kind of like the Indian defenses. So like this, d4, knight f6, c4. Basically this pawn I'm pushing here. Now there are lots of ways to go in this position. You could either just play g6, e6. Yeah, I think so. And if you're feeling like, yo, what are you saying? You're saying some square names. I don't know that. Don't worry. Just look. I'll just show you the pawns itself. But you should actually learn notation. If you want to read books, you should learn notation. So you got your g6, which is the King's Indian. You can see this bishop here. Look. So in the King's Indian, this bishop goes on a long diagonal. Now you are saying it's blocked by the knight. Now look, I don't want to jump into some advanced topics, but just know these bishops who are on the bishops which are on this See the P file, these two can be used to fianchetto your bishops. That basically means putting a bishop on a short square to put it on a extremely long diagonal. Now, lots of openings like the Sicilian Dragon, lots of openings use the fianchetto system. So, fianchetto is one of the most crucial parts in the opening that you should know. Now let's dive on to the one e4. Now e4 is the king's pawn opening. Now what does this do? Most beginners, I think if you are an intermediate player, you will know that this does nothing to your king because all it's defended well and the opponent can't do anything on the first move. E4 is the main move which most people play. Now there are lots of ways to respond like this. You could play the Sicilian, you could play normal, standard like this. Oh yeah, there are lots of ways to do it. Like even this works, a Cairo can, Peter defense, everything works. And sometimes in the Alekines kind of goes like this. You know, even the Alekine sometimes can happen. So yeah, e4, one e4. So like it has tons of openings. Even I don't know all of them. Now mostly when you start, people are probably going to just play this or this, but or there might be some intermediate guys who might play e5. But once you go into higher levels, the people start playing Sicilian, which does one major part. So I'll be giving you a few choices. So first of all, just think, what does the move c5 do? Does it help anything? Does it have some control over something? Is it just a bad move? Or is it a really complicated opening which nobody knows? The answer is, it controls something. c5 controls this square. You see the d square, which I am pointing my mouse at. Now this square is incredibly important because you are going to be putting your pawns there, sometimes your knights there, because on this square, just look, if your knight even reaches here, you could just imagine the power of your knight or bishop, queen. So it's really important. Now, so basically lots of lines with the Sicilian like there. Like this is one of the lines. This is the Najdov that I'm going to be showing you. It goes like this. This I won't teach you this right now, but I'll teach it to you later. But the Najdov is basically looking to push b5, or this where my mouse is at. Now the Najdov is very advanced. It also stopped this here. This is check by the bishop. So there are lots of variations like Schneevegan, Taimanov, Richthofen, Najdov, Moscow. I honestly don't know how many there are, but there are tons and tons and tons. Like you see in this Sveshnikov. Look now. So I am now covered the part of the central squares. So now let's learn a normal mate, which will come useful in a standing games. They play against other noobs. It starts with this, pushing your center pawn. You play normally, you just play normally e5 here. Now playing e5, it's normal fashion, okay? It's not anything normal. Now we play our knights out, attacking the pawn. It's a developing piece also. c6, bishop c4. Now this is the Italian game, but you should know that the Italian game, it's the main opening for a lot of people. In my academy, most people play the Italian game. You should know lots of ways that are countering. You can play bishop e7, which is the Hungarian defense. You can play bishop c5. You could play this. You could play anything, to be honest. You can even play like, I don't know, you could fianchetto bishop then. I am not really a big fan of this, but it's very common. Okay. Now you also have to be aware of traps. You heard me? Traps. Now traps are like, yeah, there might be some traps like they go like this, they play this. You are gonna try to do a standard development, think it's no problem, and then they play this. Now this is a scholar's mate. Basically, it's a mate with a queen and a bishop. It's a very common mate that once you start playing in online or normal areas, you might see the scholars mate a few times. It basically goes like this, and you get mated. As you can see, that is a beautiful mate. You can't stop it at all. Now, to prevent the scholar's mate after they play bishop c4, let bishop c4 happen. Play any move, just don't play any inaccurate move like this. This, don't play this or this. I mean, this pawn. Don't play anything like that. Just continue standard development. They play queen h5, and then you just play normally this. Now you might be saying, oh my god, it's a free pawn. And yes, it is. It's not. If you thought it was a free pawn, you must know how to play chess before coming into this video. Please. If you think this is a free pawn and you win the rook, no, sorry dude. It's a blunder. So yeah, that was one of the main parts that I covered up. Now there's another type of attack which is a little less aggressive, but it's same type of threat. It's kind of like a scholar's mate, but a little different. So like this, 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 and then this. To F3. Now the way to prevent this is to simply develop your knight here. He can't really do anything in the position. He just has to cry because he can't do his almighty scholar's mate. So you'll be chilling. Don't play any other move like this. I mean, yes, this can work, but kind of weakens this. So basically, when you like castle in chess, you have to make sure your king safety is there. Now when you play any move that damages like this, it's pretty bad. So yeah, don't play that, because you'll have to then castle the other way, which is alongside castling. So yeah, that's a wayward queen attack. Now I'm going to be showing you the Ruy Lopez. I know dude, you might be thinking, oh my god, I'm just a beginner, why are you showing me such advanced openings? This will be needed if you actually want to become an intermediate or an advanced player, like the Ruy Lopez, which goes like this. You just develop your knight, he develops out his knight, it's classic fashion, and you play this. Now the Ruy Lopez is a really advanced opening. Not really advanced, but it's really risky with tons of attacks that can happen. Now I would suggest you that in this situation, when a piece is pinned, look, it's actually not pinned, but in lots of situations when a piece is like pinned, let me just show you one example. I'll just show you real quick. Let's say this happens. No, not this. Let's say this happens. Now this is a pin. Okay. Now a pin is basically, you can't move this piece, or else you'll do something bigger. Now when you're pinned against this king here, this piece can move, and it will lead to unfortunate demise. But what I would like to suggest to you is that in open positions. Now what do open positions exactly mean? It means where you see the space. Look at your bishop, the scope of this bishop. Look at how much it can go through. So when there are less pawns, the lots of squares are free, that's called an open position. And in closed positions, it's kind of like where tons of pawns, lots of pieces. So when it's an open position here, I prefer you don't take this, because taking a knight, just taking the knight itself doesn't make no sense. I know this is not a pin, I've said it for the third time, but don't take the knights for two exact reasons. First, position open, so bishops are more favorable. Second is, this knight is weak. It has only moved once. Yes, even my bishop has only moved once. But there's a difference. My bishop is really strong. It's sitting in the black's castle. It's just waiting for anything to happen. So, because of that, it's a little risky. Because if you take, it's a little disadvantage because takes, and yes, black has these pawns which are blockading each other, but black also has another advantage, and that is simply this open file. See this file? Now let's move on to our next topic, which is rooks. Now in this situation, I have decided to play knight c3. Now you can say you could just move your rook here. Now in chess, there's lots of planning. I already told. So you can place your rook here and get it ready on the file. But doing this in the opening is not really a great step because of this reason. Now let's say you have done your standard development. Black has also done their standard development like this castle, and let's say this ends up in any random situation where you can castle in one, like there are pieces here, like there are like pieces here, so there are sorry guys, like there are pieces here, like lots of white pieces that are ready to just jump into attack and just kill them, of course. So you might not want to castle. So because of that, you might sometimes want to castle alongside. But when these pawns are like this, it's even worse. And let's say the pawns are not like this. The pawns are not like this. You can see like where my cursor is right now. So the pawns are not double. Then you can castle because there's less amount of pieces. And it's better off because all the white pieces put in all their hard work. They decided to hop around everywhere just to find out that you castle on the other side. So because of that, it's pretty damn bad. It is pretty damn bad, yeah. I think so. You can agree with me too. So you should try to castle as early as possible. You might be thinking why? Well, it's all because so that white pieces can't attack you. Look, if you castle early, look there are like if you castle early, let's say this happens. Bishop c4, let's say bishop c5, c3. Yeah, so you can just see we're kind of terrorizing this thing. So like this, no, not this. I meant d5. This. Now you should now both sides can castle really quickly, which is the good part. So now look, now you should castle really quickly. Look, let's say like lots of taking moves happen and you won't be able to castle, or else you will lose material. It's okay. You can do it afterwards. Look, white castles and black castles, and the game is almost equal. Not equal exactly, but you could just see the kings are safe. However, black is behind in development. That's the only disadvantage black has. So you should try to castle as early in every position you come across. Okay. So now let's go into a little middle game tactics. Okay. So the middle game is such a step where let's say few pawns have been exchanged. Let's say queens have been exchanged, knight have been exchanged, not there are pieces on the board, all the pieces are developed, both of the kings are castled. It's called the middle game because it's the step from which the end game arises. And when the end game arises, guys, it takes lots of work. Now the end game, we'll talk about that later. The middle game is the first thing we're supposed to do. Now the middle game is has lots of tactics that you should know. Now, the first tactic I would like to tell you about is deflection or decoy. I honestly don't know, but it's a tactic which you should use. Okay, so I'm just gonna be. It's not a real game, okay? It's just meant for that reason, like, not this. Sorry. I know, dude. I am playing so bad. Yeah, like kind of like this. I'm just doing it randomly, okay? So if you think I'm playing bad, dude, I'm just doing this so that you have it's an example. Let's say dumb black decides to not take the queen. Yeah, it's over for black in this position because of this brutal move, which causes him to lose his whole queen. Now when you do this, I think it's called deflection, not decoy, because deflection is basically when you send off a piece into a fatal square. Decoy is when you deflection is when you send a piece into a fatal square, where it's either going to get forked, which we'll talk about later, or it's going to make another piece reverse itself. Now in this position, we play this sacrifice. Now if king takes, we simply just take the queen. So you have to be aware of all these tactics that come in games. Now let me show you a fork Now I'm just gonna be showing you a fork, not any tactic. I'll try to make the position, okay? I have just decided to record the video for fun, okay? So I have no actual positions. Okay. I have no actual positions, so yeah, you'll see what I mean. Like, let's say this happens. Okay, I'm just gonna be showing you an example here only. I think it's best if we show you example here only. Let me go into puzzles. No, not this puzzle, dude. Okay guys, I'm sorry, dude. I could not find my puzzles, and I just looking to find the puzzles. Where's the fork? Yeah. Now, a fork is when two pieces get attacked at once. Okay, so like two pieces are getting destroyed. So let me just show you real quick. Look, this is one position that I'm going to be showing you. And you can see this is a fork. Do you see how this is a fork? Look, queen here, it's a check, first of all. And second of all, the rook is hanging here. So you got to see that the rook is hanging. The king has to move, because you can't of course give up your king. And that's how we win material. We don't actually. Let me just show you, like, wait a minute. So you can see this is a fork again, the king and the rook. Now there are also lots of other types of forks, such as with no checks. Now what is this fork about? Yeah, oh my god, what is this fork about? Honestly, I don't want to see it. I'm just showing you the example of this, so bear with me, okay? So yeah, I've shown you it. The forks position, like, let me just show you this. This is a fork of the bishop and the king. Now let's say what just happened, bruh? Dude, what the heck, man? Right, so if let's say king goes here, if we take the bishop, it's a tempo on the rook too. It's pretty cool. Yes, that is it. Now I'll show you the fork. Okay, I won't dive in all the tactics, but in the middle game section, I'll just give you a few tips. Make sure your pieces are centralized. And do you know what I mean by that? I mean, like, your pieces should all be in the center. Like, see my bishops? See this bishop in the center? This is called a centralized bishop. Okay, a centralized bishop. Well, the bishop is in the center place. Now don't play in the opening. Okay, this is the Tortoise opening. Don't play it. So place your pieces in the center. Make sure you have an attack against few opponent squares, which I'm gonna be telling you now. The squares are the squares are the following. It's this square which I've clicked on, this square and this square. Now you might be thinking, what? Why these squares? Look, the king majorly is castle on the king side, which is basically this side the king is facing, not this side, because the queen is facing this side. So when you start attack on these squares, which let me just tell you, are f7, g7 and h7. Now when you start the attacks against these places, it can become deadly. Yes, very deadly. It can get you a fork, it can get you skewered, it can get you even a mate in the position. So let's say, and what happens if the king castles on the queen side? You can attack those squares. Okay. So you have to. So let's say king castle on the queen side. We have to attack. We can have to attack a7, b7, and c7. Cause if you want to checkmate, you can go there. Or if you want material, you can go anywhere. You should look for hanging pawns. Now, what do I mean by hanging pawns? Let me show you. Okay, this is a really bad opening. Don't play this. This is the worst opening ever. Let's just say black decides to play anything, and now this is a hanging pawn, also called as an isolated pawn. The pawn over here, which is highlighted, now it's an easy win. Black can just take the pawn. You can just see this pawn is not protected. Not even the knight is protecting it. Bishop, queen, rooks, nobody. And just take it and you win. So you have to be careful. Always be aware of that, or else it's going to end up bad. I can say that. So now let me tell you something about pawn structure. So I've told you at the starting of this video that you should move these two pawns, right? So yeah, use that info. Cause look, let's say black decides to not make a center. Okay, let's say black just wants to develop out his pieces. He decides to just normally do his stuff. Like, let's say we play this. He decides to play the 2 knights defense. And now we can quickly get up a center. You see how? Do you even know why we played this move? Because you're preparing for something. Not on an all-out war, but something pretty simple. Let's say black plays bishop e7, which is an inaccurate move. I'm just doing it just for the sake of it, okay? Play this. Now you can see d4, we are fighting for space in the center. Look at this. Takes. And look, do you see the center we have now? Look at these two pawns. Look at the amount of pieces that can go. The knight can go, the bishop can go, the queen can go, the king can castle easily. Like, let's say this happens. Let's say this happens. Like something like this. So you could just see, why is it pretty much winning? Look at the amount of space he has, time he has. I know some people might not have time. So you could just see, his king is safe. Black has absolutely no space. Look at his pawns. What is he doing? Can you ask me? He's doing nothing. The poor guy is doing nothing. Which is pretty understandable, because normally in lots of games, like in the King's Indian defense, which let me just show you, like it goes like this, this, and this. Now black really like, so I'm just gonna be showing you the Everback. Let's say this. So this is one of the Everback, I guess. So you could just say this is like some lots of games this position might happen in the Kings India. Like it's a mix of Arabic variation and kind of classical, you can say. So, let's say like so. Yeah, so you can see Black is fighting his space here. He wants a center. He wants complete control. He wants to put his rooks. You see this rook here? Wait, let me show you what I mean. He wants to put his rook on the e8 file. To put his rook on e8 because you can see it's eyeing down in this open file. In middle game or end game, this can become incredibly useful. Okay, so yeah, make sure that happens. And I know I said it's a middle game. Okay, I know it's a good diversion, but honestly, I'm just showing you what I know. I have not planned this. I just decided to start recording. So if you actually want a better course, it's gonna take a few months, not months, but few days for the new course. Like if you want a Sicilian course, a Caracan course, Italian, yeah, I'll get it because I also want to become a GM. Okay, so yeah, you could just see it. So I'm gonna be now, before we head on to the end game, I'm going to be giving you the last few tips you should do in the opening and middle game, which is kind of like a summary. Always develop your pieces, get your pieces centralized, castle king to safety pretty quickly. And now this is one additional tip which I'm going to be giving you. Play on the wings. What do I mean by that? Not in this manner, okay? The wings basically means this guy, see this, and this guy. So C and the F are the wings. Now you can choose this because, like, let's say Black decides to pin your knight. Okay, won't show it, but just imagine Black has decided to pin your knight. Now what are you gonna do? Cry about it? Your bishop somewhere? Your queen somewhere? You could just play on the wings and start an attack on the king's side or queen's side, anywhere you want. You have to start attacks in chess. Look, if you play against a high-rated opponent, and let's say he had a chance to pin your knight, he had a chance to play something really good, like a sacrifice, a decoy, a clearance sacrifice, anything he plays, and he missed it, you can take the advantage, start playing on the wings, make great progress, and win the game. Because in lots of games that I've played, I've always lost because of one reason, and that is because I didn't see the threat. I didn't see what could have I done. Okay, you always have to be ready for threats because you have to think in your mind. Always expect your opponent to play the best move. Yes, expect him. Even if he doesn't, you know how to be prepared against it, right? You know the measures you can do so that he can't play anything in the future, like a little prophylactic move, which basically means make a plan. Let's say it's kind of like this. Something happens like this. Okay, so like this. Let's say he plays this, which I honestly don't know what it is. d6. Now you can see your opponent can easily do something. He can just pin your knight. So you know that if he pins your knight, you're almost dead. Not actually dead, but he gets a advantage. You can see because he gets to get a tempo. He can make you get double pawns. And now, double pawns are not exactly a bad thing. They can also be sometimes good things, which I'll cover in my later lessons. You play this. You play e3. Now what is e3? Oh, what is e3? e3 prevents this from happening. You cannot play this because we just simply take it. So you have to make sure that nothing like a pin, a skewer, or any tactic, like an opening tactic, because lots of people, even I have lost to an opening tactic lots of times. So you have to make sure that. And guys, should I cover the endgame or not? I mean, I'll cover the endgame on my more detailed course. I know it's a scam. I know I scammed your time. But dude, I am literally recording this at 4 p.m. I have to go on a vacation tomorrow where I have to study chess all day because I got the chance to. So I'll try to make lots of videos there. And thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you become better at chess and one day become a grandmaster. Thank you. GG's.